Archaeologists have discovered a huge ancient city hidden underground in Mexico, which may give a better understanding of the Maya civilization.
It would accommodate thousands, if not 10,000s of people.
For centuries, the Maya civilization has been defined by sudden disappearance, leaving behind only ruins, questions, and legends. But now, a single discovery has cracked their mystery wide open. An obsidian artifact, one unlike anything ever conducted, has revealed an origin story more unsettling than anyone imagined.
They die and they revive again every day to remind humans that they got to keep balance, maybe by making offerings and rituals specific to the underworld.
It began in a sealed stone chamber. Scientists expected typical funerary remains. What they found was something else entirely. Bodies that looked human, but weren't behaving like human remains should. Their tissue preserved itself. Their cells reacted to environmental changes. But the true shock came from their DNA. Hidden deep in the genome was an impossible sequence, one that no known species, human or otherwise, should possess. A sequence so precise, so deliberate, it challenged the entire story of human evolution. This wasn't just a discovery, it was the unraveling of a secret, one suggesting the Maya were connected to something far older. They called it the Obsidian Anomaly. Before we dive deeper into this mystery, hit that subscribe button and activate the notification bell so you don't miss what comes next. The discovery. It began in the Petén Basin of northern Guatemala, one of the densest and least explored regions of the ancient Maya world. A research team scanning the ruined structures around El Mirador detected something bizarre beneath a collapsed pyramid. A perfectly circular void buried 40 feet below the surface. Nature doesn't build in perfect circles. When they dug down, they hit stone, precision-cut blocks fused with a cement-like compound stronger than anything modern engineers could identify. Then came the sealed doorway, a massive limestone slab engraved with symbols belonging to no known script. Some resembled early pre-Olmec motifs. Others looked unearthly. Instruments malfunctioned whenever they neared the slab. It emitted abnormally low magnetic readings, almost as if something metallic was embedded inside the stone. After days of delicate work, they breached the doorway. A hiss of ancient compressed air escaped. Inside lay a flawless circular chamber, 23 feet across, its walls coated in a black, glass-like material. It resembled obsidian, but it didn't reflect light. It swallowed it. The temperature plunged. The silence felt engineered. And in the center, on 3 stone pedestals, sat the preserved remains of 3 individuals. They were surrounded by jade artifacts, polished metal discs, and crystalline shards. The bodies were untouched by decay, impossible for a region drowning in humidity. But the skulls were the true anomaly. Elongated, yes, but not through binding. Their bone structure was biologically symmetrical, genetically encoded. Then came the carbon dating results. 12,400 years old. That placed them thousands of years before the Maya, before the Olmec, before any known civilization in the Americas. A discovery that should have rewritten textbooks, until the DNA test rewrote reality instead. The DNA. Initial sequencing was normal, mitochondrial haplogroup A2, common in indigenous peoples of the Americas. But deeper sequencing revealed something unprecedented. Entire segments refused to align with any known human genome. They assumed contamination until the anomaly repeated across all 3 individuals. Embedded in what scientists once dismissed as junk DNA was a mathematical sequence, a precise, repeating motif mirroring the Fibonacci spiral. It wasn't mutation, it wasn't random, it was code. They designated it sequence X473, a hybrid of human and something else. And when they exposed it to ultraviolet light, the DNA emitted faint biophotonic luminescence, identical to the glow of deep-sea bioluminescent creatures. Why would ancient human remains glow like marine life? Global databases provided no matches, not to animals, humans, or extinct species. The sequence looked engineered. And then someone made the connection. The geometric arrangement of the base pairs in X473 matched the spiral glyphs carved into the chamber's stone door. The architecture and the DNA spoke the same mathematical language. This wasn't biology. It was storage. When translated into binary, the sequence produced repeating constants, astronomical ratios including the orbital resonance between Earth and Venus. This chamber wasn't a tomb. It was an archive. The bodies weren't dead. They were data. The living descendants. Then came the discovery that changed everything. When researchers tested modern populations, they found a faint, degraded form of sequence X473 still active in a remote highland community in the Yucatan. These people had no idea they carried it, yet their traditions told the story. They called themselves guardians of the old blood. Their elders forbade intermarriage, not from prejudice, but to protect the balance. The spiral glyphs from the chamber? They recognized them instantly. They called the symbol the breath of the sky. And biologically, the descendants were different. Subtle differences, but real. Faster cellular repair, stronger immunity, elevated memory-related neural activity. This sequence was not a relic. It was alive. And it was global. Trace fragments appeared in remote populations across the Pacific, the Andes, even Arctic groups, yet none shared a common ancestor. The sequence didn't evolve. It simply appeared, scattered across the world like a deliberate insertion, a code implanted into humanity itself.
Implications of this discovery. If the DNA test is real, if sequence X473, the ancient machine, and the underground chamber all point to a single orchestrated event 12,000 years ago, then the implications are nothing short of earth-shattering. This isn't just a new chapter in human history. It's a different book entirely. First, the timeline of civilization collapses. Until now, scholars believed advanced societies emerged around 6,000 years ago, but these remains predate that by millennia, implying that sophisticated knowledge, astronomy, mathematics, genetic engineering, existed long before the first cities rose in Mesopotamia or Egypt. The Maya, long admired for their mastery of the calendar and the cosmos, may not have invented these ideas at all. They inherited them. This forces archaeologists to confront a possibility they've avoided for decades. Humanity's earliest teachers may not have been human. Second, the existence of sequence X473 rewrites genetics. If DNA can be intentionally engineered to store information, then biology becomes a medium, like writing, like architecture, like computer code. The line between organism and technology dissolves. The idea that ancient groups carried instructions inside their genome suggests a level of biodesign we haven't even achieved today. Worse still, the fact that the sequence remains active in certain populations raises ethical nightmares. Are these people merely descendants or custodians? Were they chosen, modified? And what happens if governments or corporations obtain X473 and attempt to replicate or weaponize it? Third, the discovery of the metallic ring, still pulsing after 12,000 years, throws the scientific world into chaos. Modern engineering can't keep machines running for a few decades without maintenance. But this structure has endured cataclysm, jungle overgrowth, and time itself. If it really is a beacon, then humanity must ask, Who was it built for? Was it meant to signal the sky people across the stars? To maintain communication with something outside our solar system? Or to reactivate the genetic sequence embedded within the ancient bloodlines? The terrifying question becomes, has the machine already done so? Fourth, the global geopolitical landscape would rupture overnight. Any nation controlling this technology, especially one capable of linking biology to electromagnetic communication, would immediately dominate the world stage. Imagine the implications: genetic keys, biological receivers, human nodes capable of interpreting signals from an ancient machine. Countries would race not only to control the artifact, but to locate populations carrying fragments of the sequence. Entire communities could become targets. Some governments might attempt to suppress the discovery entirely to avoid panic or maintain power. Fifth, culture and religion would be shaken to their foundations. Every major tradition on Earth contains stories of sky beings, world-ending floods, or ancient visitors who provided knowledge. But until now, these were myths, comforting or cautionary tales. The discovery of a biological code shared across distant cultures with no contact suggests humanity experienced a coordinated intervention. It implies that ancient legends, the Maya, the Hopi, Doban, the Mori, and even early Mesopotamian civilizations may all be fragments of one event: a historic encounter with a technologically superior intelligence. The idea that human evolution was guided, altered, or accelerated would send shockwaves through scientific and religious institutions alike. Finally, the existential implications are the darkest of all. If the sky people embedded an alarm clock and built a machine to preserve or awaken something, humanity must confront the possibility that we are not the architects of our destiny. We might be part of a system designed long before recorded history, a system waiting for a signal, a system we have, now accidentally, reactivated. And if the creators of that system return, the question is not who they are. It's whether they ever intended for us to survive long enough to meet them.